Welcome to Conscious Conversations. I am Ariana.
And I'm Cami. It's in our hearts to expand your mind and reality
and elevate the consciousness of the world,
one conversation at a time. Hello and welcome to Conscious Conversations with Ariana and Cami. I'm Cami.
And I am Ariana. And we are talking about spiritual escapism today and some use of gateway drugs within that umbrella.
Yes. And the gateway drugs can be man-made drugs, and they can also be natural drugs and plant medicines and how people come to them. And I feel like I want to be clear that Ariana and I decided on this topic just a few minutes ago. So this is completely unprepared, and we both want to be open to whatever wishes to come through on this topic. So I think we're volunteering to act as divine channels for whatever it is that wishes to be expressed here.
Absolutely. It's so interesting how we had a topic thought of yesterday, and then when we came together just now, and you mentioned the spiritual escapism combined with the concept of use of gateway drugs, which is not always escapism. Gosh, I just got chills. I got so excited. So I really just feel like it's divinely guided for us to talk about this today, even though we're prepared in our past experiences, but it's not really what we were planning on talking about today. So welcome, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us. I hope you enjoy whatever it is that shows up, because it's a mystery to you, me, and everybody else. So
yay. So let's start with, what is spiritual escapism? I think defining that.
For me, in my experience, what I've seen with the spiritual escapism and what I've experienced personally is it's very, very easy to feel like I want to run off to an ashram or go and meditate for 8 hours a day or go live in a cave. And that wouldn't it just be easier if I could just go off and meditate and not have to deal with all this? Well, in a way, yes. However, what's been said is that the true masters are the ones who are not sitting in the caves, the ones who are living their day-to-day lives, dealing with people day to day, raising families. There may not be this grand spiritual teacher mission for everybody. That is not everybody's path. And even those who are here to embody more of themselves and share their wisdom and be spiritual teachers. Everybody is sharing their wisdom and their guidance in their own ways within their own circles. You don't have to be on a stage doing this. That may not be a thing, right? If you want to start a podcast or do whatever it is to get yourself out there in whatever form, then great. If you feel guided to do that, then do that. And there are things to do. What is it? Like before enlightenment, wash dishes, carry water. After enlightenment, wash dishes, carry water. I don't know where I heard something like that. But there are mundane things to attend to, and it can be so enchanting to be out of body and to be exploring all of these other realms that are not here, because straight up, this realm can be so heavy, and we do tend to, as humans, experience a lot of suffering. I get that. Sometimes we just want to break from that, and that is absolutely okay. But we are also contracted to be here in this body on this planet to do whatever it is that we're supposed to do here. So the whole picture is not out there. The whole picture involves in here also, and the mundane things that we do and the people that we associate with in real life. So while it is a shiny object worthy to be out exploring and being in your spiritual self and exploring all of your various aspects, that's all beautiful and fantastic. Please embody all of that, but also bring it back here, because it can be really addictive. And I think that's where the danger lies, is where this the addiction to the plant ceremonies, meditation circles, workshops, self-improvement programs, all of the things that we do. And, that may include gateway drugs. Like I just don't want to deal with the here and now. I would rather be off playing. And the thing is, we can bring play into our work. We can bring play and joy into this realm. We can. It's not all suffering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And what comes to mind for me is a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. that I'm going to share because I just pulled it up while you were talking. And it says, if a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. And that quote is by Martin Luther King Jr. And I feel like what that calls to, and what you were speaking of, Cami, is that we can be spiritual in the most of mundane things. And that quote just almost brings me to tears in its beauty in and of itself. Spiritual escapism can, as you said, be wanting to escape to a cave or an ashram, or just hide in your house and claim that you're too sensitive and spiritual to exist in the world. But what does that speak to what you offer and what you give of your spirituality, of your humanity, of your connectedness and contribution to the world? The part of the spiritual escapism for me is, a cashier at your grocery store can actually be more of a guru than some of those gurus out there claiming that they're gurus. And that's a whole other topic that I think we're going to get into next time. Be your own guru. So we're going to kind of touch on that a little bit. And then another thing that kind of came up for me while you were talking was I really felt this heavily in the probably like 2011, 2012. And I called this group of spiritual people white lighters. And they came from that viewpoint that if I claim my spirituality and I claim that I am from positivity and white light and call in the light, then nothing negative can touch me and nothing negative exists within me. And there's some, to me, spiritual escapism involved with that too. They're escaping the point of duality. They're escaping the reality of their own inner darkness. And some of that has purpose. And they're avoiding the reality that darkness does exist out in the world as well. So I think there's a lot to the spiritual escapism topic.
Definitely have some things popping
so broad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and as you were talking about the white lighters, the love and light and whatever, I feel like that's a phase that people may go through. And there is truth to it's all love, but what do we believe that love is, right? We may demonize something that on a higher level is love. And also, there is also truth to the more we're running away from this perceived darkness, the more it's going to chase us. And then I got sort of this download that said, those are the people that need to have some plant medicine journeys, because the plant medicines will show them their shadows. And so they need to be ready for that. If that calling comes through and that's something that they want to work with, then I would encourage it. But it is not a recreational experience. It is a sacred experience. And I recommend that if people pursue it, that they go through it with very
Reverence.
sacred intent,
Yeah,
reverence.
absolutely.
Yes.
That kind of brings to mind a woman at one my first ayahuasca experience. I did a 3 night excursion, and on this, and some people just did one night. Some people did night number two. Some people did 2 nights back to back. This woman came in on the second night. So I had experienced the medicine and the ceremony. We worked with a Peruvian shaman who was uh, well trained in the medicine. Nowadays, you can encounter some people that are not necessarily properly trained, so you have to be careful of that as well. But this woman I'm thinking of came in, and she was, bless her heart, really well meaning, but so in her head. She was passing out, I think it was mangoes, dried mangoes or something, and telling people that had been there for the first night already, telling people that she had done all of this research, and here, have some dried mangoes. You're going to need this, and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, you're not under this particular ayahuasquero. They gave you food that they wanted you to eat, and they recommended you not eat until the end of the ceremony and things of this nature. So when we finally took the medicine and we were a couple hours into, this 5-hour journey with grandmother, she was outside with some of the babysitters. It was a huge group. They had about 5 babysitters plus a ayahuasquero and about 30 or 40 people taking medicine. She was a mess. She was fighting the medicine. She was crying. She was uncomfortable. She was really facing her, what I would say, ego, because that's kind of what she came in with. She wasn't
Yes.
open. She wasn't just sort of ready to surrender. And I just sort of, here I am, like in the medicine, but watching what she's going through and just sort of taking it in, like, wow, that's just really interesting how that unfolded.
Mhm. Yeah, that is for people who identify maybe as control freaks or people who are largely in their head. The medicine might offer some interesting mirrors. Yeah,
That's a nice way to put it.
yeah,
That,
it can be purgative. And what I see with these medicines, my experience with them is that they go into the body and they eject anything that is not love. So they're just bringing to light anything that is not love. And there may be all sorts of intestinal responses that could happen with them, and often enough it's not physical. I can't name the number of times where I have literally seen a black goo coming out of people as they retch and they're feeling or experiencing something they describe as dry heaves, and they're not dry heaving. There is stuff coming out. Really, really interesting. So it's not always the most comfortable situation. It will definitely bring things to light. And you want to have somebody who's experienced to be there with you to guide the experience, and someone who is absolutely reverent, and appreciates the sacred nature. I am not one for the recreational use of any drug. But that is my personal journey. I understand that there are some people that really enjoy that. They get something out of that. That is simply not for me. It's never been for me. It's just not an experience that I have ever enjoyed. And so it's not something that I do. Medicine is very sacred to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just me. I've definitely observed some experiences and whatever. That's all I can say is that is not for me. It has been made so clear so many times that for me, recreational use of this stuff is just, it's a no-no. It's just not something that works for me. So yeah, um I choose not to do that. But I appreciate everybody's journey in coming to medicine, however it is that they come to it. And the term gateway is really interesting to me. I know that drugs have been demonized, and some for good reason. And I know that there are, of even the street drugs, as they call them, there are definitely higher and lower quality. It is, from what I have gathered, extraordinarily dangerous to play with street drugs these days, in particular, with the way that things have been corrupted. So there again,
I,
yeah, it's just not something that I don't have experience with street drugs. I'll say straight up. It's not, everything that I have, I prefer nature made. And it's just not something that I have a lot of experience with. And this is a case where I have preferred to learn from others. I've had way too many loved ones who have gone rounds with recreational intoxicants, um, and have lost their souls to it. And it's been heartbreaking to watch, and something that has been made very clear in my life. That's not your path. Please be aware and watch and see. And the feedback that you're supposed to get is being on the other side of it and watching your loved ones and how their lives are affected and how everybody around them is affected. So, I am all for the responsible use, and there are medicinal factors. I think there's a lot of fear involved with a lot of things that are out there, and that much of that is thanks to propaganda from other groups that have other agendas.
right.
Um, but people need to be mindful. It's not, this isn't, plants are not, they'll chew you up and spit you out. So, just keep that in mind. If you're gonna play, you're gonna pay. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really concerning and unfortunate, the increase in deaths that we're seeing with young people, all of all ages, of course, but with the fentanyl issue, and even where other drugs are laced with the fentanyl, um, you have to be really, really careful for anyone that's trying to take some of these street drugs, because you never know what you're taking.
I'd also like to be clear that I feel similarly about pharmaceuticals. So, um,
Oh, yeah.
I can't say I'm pro pharmaceutical either. So, I would, there are benefits. There are times where, um, There are times where they are helpful and even life-saving, much like allopathic medicine.
Right.
Um, and not a fan of people taking one drug to counteract the other, and then the contraindications and this and that, and how they all play together, and not knowing what they're doing, and trying to single out certain molecular structures and whatever, and then you're oh, that's not the whole thing, right? Whereas if you take it in the actual plant medicine form, you're getting all of it. It all plays together. It's not really meant to be singled out. It's meant for all of the elements to play in it together. That's really why I prefer the actual natural form. There is no
Yeah.
replicating nature, even with technology. As much of a proponent as I am of the ethical use of technology, even technology knows that it cannot replicate nature.
Yeah. I totally agree. Um, I didn't, I don't know. I didn't really want to bring up pharma. I feel like it's a
Yeah, sorry.
touchy
Yeah, we got to be careful.
subject on
It
those,
is.
but
Yeah. I truly believe that the people that are involved, um, absolutely believe that they are doing the right
right.
thing.
I
There is an awful lot there. And I am also I'm encouraged with some people that I've been meeting recently that are involved with pharma in a certain way. And I am encouraged that they are taking their heart and their essence into pharma, because I feel like they can make some positive change from the inside. And that,
That's awesome. That's
yeah,
that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said earlier, where pharma has its benefits, it has
it
its
does.
place. It
Yes.
I would never say that it's should be eliminated. I would not say
No,
that.
no, I would not say that. Mm-mm.
My I think what I would like to say as carefully as possible, because of the censorship that goes on,
Yes.
that using anything, whether it's plant medicine, whether it's pharmaceuticals, whether it's herbs, if you find,
Anything.
or even if it's vitamins, if you find yourself having to take long term anything, um, you may benefit greatly. Your liver may benefit greatly if you take some time to explore what's really going on and why do I require this long term supplemental medicinal type thing.
There were times where I was taking, like, I realized I was like, I'm gonna take some of this, and I was taking like 25 supplements a day. And I thought, how is this any different from somebody who's taking 25 different pharmaceuticals?
Right.
It's not any different. So we really need to look at that. The body's designed to heal itself. We just need to give it an environment that is conducive to that. So that means, drinking your water and, balancing your levels in whatever way you need to. Dehydration causes so many other problems. There are so many elements to this. We don't really need to overcomplicate it, and I think we're want to do that, but that is it's a symptom of other imbalances,
Right.
right? So I
Right.
mean, we're all on this journey. We're all, finding our way, and so there's no hard and fast. But I just wanted to be clear. The reason that I brought pharma in is because I'm saying I'm not demonizing street drugs. And I'm not demonizing pharma. You know what I'm saying? And even plant medicines, any of it can be okay. So I was going to say any of it can be misused, and then of course I've got my, in the back here, Is it really being misused, or is it all part of the path? Right. Just sort of
Right.
questioning me on my wording, like where am I placing judgment that doesn't need to be placed, and having a level of acceptance with where people are on their journey
Right.
always.
And I'm hearing John Newton just say, follow your heart.
Yeah.
Is it really in your heart to do that?
Yeah. You'll be guided. You'll be guided to whatever it is that is next for you. It'll come. I know that.
Right.
And so just, if somebody is going through that experience right now of where they are in their relationship with plant medicine, street drugs, or pharmaceuticals, or whatever it is, right? Um, know that where you are right now is okay. And whatever comes up for your awareness, if something needs to change, you'll know. If you're ready to outgrow something, you'll know. And let's just create an opening for that.
Right. And I would say to add on to that, if you are intuitively guided, or you get the sense that it is time to change, but you don't know how, or you don't know what to do, to take time to sit quiet with that voice and just ask for guidance. And even if you are not at a place where you feel like you get answers immediately or get answers at all, just by asking, that will start to unravel the quantum field. The
Mm-hmm.
universe will respond with something. Just be mindful and patient and see what shows up, because amazing miracles happen when we just ask for help and ask for guidance, whether it's specific or whether it's very general. And our guides, our angels, our star family, God, ascended masters, whatever you subscribe to, the universe itself will bring you answers. It may not look like how you expect it to show up, but those answers will come. Someone will walk up to you and say, hey, by the way, XYZ, and you'll get a ping and you'll be like, whoa, why did that person say that to me? That's exactly what I needed to hear. The
I
universe
love
shows up
that.
in crazy ways, right?
I love that. And that is living in the flow and experiencing synchronicities and being open to them, and almost being in a state of play with the universe when you open up and you ask those questions. It's not out of a state of scarcity necessarily. It can be, though. I mean, when we finally were like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And we finally just like lose it and surrender and say, help me. The help arrives. But
Exactly.
sometimes we have to be ready to say, I can't, I just can't. I just can't. I need help. Help is all around.
It is, yes. And you don't have to subscribe to any religion or even the Bible itself to understand that there is magic in the passage. Knock and the door shall be opened. Ask and ye shall receive. There's magic in that passage.
Matthew 7:7. It is my favorite.
Yeah, you don't have to subscribe to Christianity. You don't have to subscribe to the Bible to hold those words in your heart and know that they are true.
Know that that's true on a level of physics and quantum physics. And
Yes.
yeah, that the deeper you get into, we'll say, higher technology, the more it appears as magic. And Howard does say it's all physics. It's all physics. So there you go. It's right there in the Bible. And so you can take it in that form, or you can go and explore it in physics. It's the same. It's it's all right there.
Yeah.
And there is truth to that.
Yes. Knock and the door is open. Ask and ye shall receive.
What else do we want to say about spiritual escapism and gateway drugs?
Hmm. So,
Do you feel like, because I feel like, um, hmm, I can see where it can go a certain direction, and people choose how deeply they want to go with their experiences with mind altering substances. We'll just put it that way. I can see where there is a gateway where people try a little something something and a little something something more and a little something something more and whatever, and it opens them. I also see some of my initial plant medicine experiences as being massive gateways and openers for me to
Mhm.
perceive reality differently. Um, yeah, and
Mm.
it just be mindful. Just be mindful. It's like technology can be used for good or bad, right? Any plant medicines or really any intoxicants or mind altering substances. You don't even need a substance to have mind altering experiences. You can do breath work. You can engage in a little spicy, you know, adult exercise activities in order to have mind altering experiences. So there are so many different ways of having mind altering experiences. It's going into it with mindfulness and reverence, whatever it is that you do. If you choose to do otherwise, then you choose to do otherwise. That is your path. um
Absolutely. I something just popped in for me that I did want to share. There is I'm going to be careful. There is a global spiritual group, um, and most of the upper echelon speakers in that group will actually, I've heard them anyway, bash any kind of gateway drug and claim that their modality will get you there and you don't need it. That's a point of view.
it is.
That is the perspective of the individual saying it, and that is not necessarily something that you have to align with, even if you like the person saying it or like the group itself, if you know who or what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to bash the group and I'm not trying to out them, so I'm not going to say who it is.
Appreciate
I
that.
have a lot of respect for the modality itself and that group, but I don't agree that blanket statement of certainty that you should not do it. In fact, one of the people that I'm thinking of specifically that says it is not the top person, but underneath some of the top people, and he's never tried any of these gateway drugs. I mean, he specifically bashes ayahuasca and the Peruvian journeying with ayahuasca, and he's never done ayahuasca. So he doesn't even
Yes.
know what he's saying when he says, by doing the energy work I teach, you will get there. No, you won't, because I've worked with him and I've done
um
both.
if he's never been there, he can't take you there. You can only take other people as deeply as you've gone, which is, one reason I know that you and I and a lot of others that we work alongside have gone really, really deep. But that's part of our journey that we've chosen. So I do strongly believe with that. You believe that you can only take others as deeply as you've gone yourself. Um, so I don't think he's qualified to speak on that if he's not experienced that, because it really does open another level. There are dangers to opening holes. There are plenty of people that I've met who have done some things, and I don't have, like, what can I actually name without getting us in trouble. People who've not come back. They've had some experiences and they've not come back. Now these are man-made
Right.
chemicals. I don't know anybody who has experienced plant medicines, especially with proper guidance, who haven't come back. The only ones that I'm aware of are ones who have experienced large doses of man-made chemicals, who had their experiences and never really came back.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Um, with is that true? Hang on a second. I'm feeling into something. It is.
I feel like if you are working under the supervision of a trained ceremonial practitioner and personally coming at it with reverence and spiritual intention, that you are going to be guided in a healthy way, both personally and by the ceremonial practitioner.
Agreed.
Whereas with the man-made stuff, it's rarely in ceremony. And I feel like a lot of the people that take more than they should are not doing that with reverence. And so there are some big issues.
I feel like there was something that was blocking what I was trying to bring through, and I got a ding 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 when you were talking about intention, and they were showing me the difference between people that go into certain ceremony or the way that they approach it versus some of the recreational usage and the not caring for oneself, and it being keyed in on intention. So if there is no intention other than I'm just going to have fun, you are more likely to open up holes and invite in
not so good things.
Not so good things.
Actually, what I'm getting while you're saying that is there's another piece of it. You go in not having an intention, but you have a subconscious tape running in the background that's probably negative, because that's why you're taking these things for some sort of relief or change or transformation. And that negative subconscious tape becomes your intention while you're on these recreational drugs. And that's really where you start bringing in dark entities or opening holes to places where you don't want to go and things of that nature. Do you get that as well?
Yes, yes. I'm strongly in agreement. I'm getting a big yes, and y'all can't see us because we're not on video yet, but yes, that I'm nodding. I'm nodding like
cool.
vigorously.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but that
no, it was perfect.
Like
I love to play on each other and not have to like totally sit silent and wait. If there's something that wants to come through, please bring it through. That's the whole thing. And that's exactly what I invited as my intention for this whole podcast is please bring through what needs to be shared, please, because that's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. I don't want to have a set agenda where I'm like, well, let me look at my notes and let me see what else we want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, let this be a free flow and let the information come in that wants to be expressed.
Exactly. I love it. I love that.
So thank you.
Absolutely. What else? Is it of value for us to discuss some of the medicine experiences we've had or the medicines that we have explored?
I feel a little touchy with the names. Let me see. I'm feeling into it. There is at least one that I would like to share. And I will just say that there was DMT, which is produced naturally in the body, by the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you consider DMT man-made?
No. There's different forms of DMT, and again, it's all in the body, and it's produced naturally. It's just that these, especially when these plant medicines are introduced, I really prefer the plant form, along with a MAO inhibitor, which extends the experience, right? It stops your body from quickly metabolizing so that you're able to actually experience that. And I will say that DMT, it is naturally produced in the body. It's there.
Okay.
Everything is already naturally produced in the body. It's just that some external substances are able to um, facilitate that and help us maybe be more aware of what's already present and experience that. It definitely opens the perception to um, colors, lights, beings, um, definitely widens the perspective so that we're able to see more, because with our eyes, with our physical eyes, we're able to see 0.04% of the entire spectrum. 0.04%. Things, medicines such as DMT, open that up so that we're able to experience significantly more. And so I'm definitely open to that. So I will share one experience where um, I had some open eye experiences, and I also had some pretty significant closed eye experiences. And I kept following the fractals and said, take me there, take me there, take me there. And I kept following and just observing what it was that was going on, around me. And then at some point, I wasn't really present necessarily as a me, definitely not, but was aware of communing with a form of mother, father, God aspect, and experiencing that motherly love and nurturing. And how could you be anything less than perfect? Right? It's the dream of the motherly love that we all wish that we could have experienced, and some of us have been blessed to actually experience that. Most of us not so much, because our moms are human. So this divine mother love, and then the father that was joyful and laughing and really not, just so protective, but not in a fearful way at all, just like holding space for whatever, and not in judgment, not full of wrath, not egoic at all. And I remember coming back and feeling like their hands gently, gently, gently placed me back on the earth. And I was not in nature at that time. And as I was coming back, I was like, what is all this shit? What is all this shit? I was looking around, and he laughed and he said, I give you all of this and you call it shit. Oh, that's so funny. He got like such a kick out of it. But they both were saying, remember you are loved. Remember you are loved. Remember you are loved. Remember you are love. Remember you are love. And that is something that I wouldn't say it's entirely a universal experience, but I have definitely experienced that with other people with plant medicine journeys, where they are gifted with that. Remember you are love. Remember you come from love. And that was a beautiful, beautiful gift. There have been other experiences that I've had where I struggled a little bit more. I wouldn't say that I was definitely experiencing some of my shadow, and some things were brought to light. Um, but there have been, pretty wide variety of different plant medicines that I have experienced also. So I may share more other times of my different experiences when I feel guided to share. But that's and it may be even a little bit later after you share some of your experiences, where I'll be like, oh, I want to share this too.
Okay,
But
sure.
I definitely have my preferences. I will say that fungi is an absolutely brilliant, amazing high level teacher that please, medicinal as well as edible. mushroom species, like if you're able to work with them, some people are highly sensitive to their plant matter. And so it causes some intestinal upset, and I understand that. But if you are called to work with fungi in some way, and this could be like reishi, shiitake, lion's mane, beautiful medicinal connective messages that come through there. So whatever level of comfort you have with fungi, I highly encourage exploring that. I tend to see more beautiful healing experiences with fungi, and so much more is being legalized, and so many double blind studies and scientific uh, sanctioned scientific usage, so it's not being demonized in the way that it was for quite a while.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of advancement in psychedelic therapy, psychedelic assisted therapy. There we've made some major strides there, and there are a number of organizations who are involved with that, and making sure that people have the licensure and the accreditation in order to facilitate these experiences. And there are others outside of the licensure, such as the shamanic practitioners, and those who have definitely gone through their initiations and are absolutely more than qualified to facilitate these journeys. If it's something that you're called to, please use your own discernment and your own inner calling, to decide where you're going to go with that. I'm encouraged that we are seeing some major healing with a lot of, and I'll say this, the scientific studies that they're doing, the ones that are fully sanctioned with, with psychotherapists and people integrating these other tools into their practices underneath their licensure, in order to facilitate some major healing of PTSD. This is outside of the accessibility for some people because of the cost. And so I know and I trust that the medicines that people are ready for will make themselves available.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Off of that, I would say, so interesting. I had this friend who was, bless his heart, just the most alien looking, geeky little engineer, awkward little sweet thing. And we were friends. And one day he said, Ariana, would you like to try ayahuasca? And I was like, who, what? This is not a person that I would have expected that out of. Now he did do qigong, and he was very health based, right? Very all natural. But he was connected to a group that was connected to a Peruvian shaman that would come to our area. And that happened exactly when I needed it, from the most unlikely of people that I happen to be acquainted with. So I just kind of shared that quickly to say, when the student is ready, the plant medicine will reveal itself. Right?
And they are teachers. They
Yes,
are
they are
absolutely
teachers.
teachers, and
Absolutely.
they have different personalities, and they yes, and even the different strains, the different practitioners, whoever is facilitating the process, it is all such a collaborative experience. And I keep like kind of like swallowing my words a little bit, and I feel like I wish that I knew in my heart that we were on a platform where I could share freely and speak freely. And please know that when you get a little sort of response from me, it's because I'm trying to word things in a way that I know can be shared
Safely.
freely
Yeah.
and without censorship and without attracting the eyes of those that we know really just don't care to attract.
Yeah. I agree, 100%. So another thing that came up while you were speaking earlier that I had not even considered, and I don't have personal experience, but I do have personal acquaintances that have direct experience that I've talked to, is, and I think you may have been alluding to it with what you were talking about, is the ketamine.
Yes.
Ketamine.
Yep.
And what I'm seeing it called asketamine, which is a nasal spray of ketamine.
That's really interesting. The only personal experience that I have with that, I feel like I can share on that because that is something that is sanctioned and legal, and I know that it's not like backdoor street med type of stuff. So
Yeah,
I
no,
had a an emergency surgery, and I had an experience while I was under anesthesia, and the anesthesiologist said, I like to take my clients on an adventure. And I came out of it and I said, I need to shake that man's hand because he's an artist and he's a teacher, and he's doing this with pharmaceuticals within the confines of his job. He didn't do anything out of line, but what he provided to me was such a massive gift, and part of it was ketamine. So,
mm-hmm.
the adventure that I went on, the clearings that I had, the experience that I had was a journey for me, and it was within the medical arena with no lines crossed at all. And so I am forever grateful for that. I also have a relative who has had some experience with ketamine, and it was a beautiful, brilliant opening experience and healing experience for him. And it was right within, the confines of legality. It was all entirely legal. And beautiful, beautiful experience. And it has opened things up for him in miraculous ways, and amazing, amazing conversations with this family member that I deeply love, and I'm so so grateful that he has had his experiences with ketamine and then also some plant medicines, and he is on his journey as well, and so grateful for that. So again, that's what I'm talking about, where like I'm thinking of the MAPS organization has been super pivotal in working with doctors and lawyers and working within the confines of quote legality, right, in order to sponsor research
Yeah.
and be involved in the research. And they've made massive, massive strides, just like they did in the 60s before it was all sort of shut down for other agendas. So it's beautiful. It's creating a lot of healing, and however people want to find it, because there are other people who are like, I don't want to go to Peru, or I don't want to go to, some of these other circles or spiritual, whatever, right, to have these experiences. Like I want to have these experiences within what I feel is safe for me, right? And so they need their options.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's going to want to go to a spiritual healer or practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
These other people need these other options. So I'm so grateful that more and more options are available, and that they're working, and they're ultimately I have to trust that it's all for the good and all for the healing, because I'm so aware of the level of suffering that people are going through, and that there are solutions for people to experience
Absolutely.
reduced suffering and healing from the traumatic experiences of being on this planet.
Yeah.
So grateful for everything that is available.
There are so many options and more coming forth all the time, whether it be energy work, whether it be some kind of medicinal, ceremonial, pharmaceutical, um, energetic therapies, frequency therapies. There's so much
So
out
many
there.
tools and technological frequency medicine devices and so many different things that are now coming out. We're here. We're here. We're in the age of Aquarius. It's hello.
Yeah.
It's happening. Yeah.
So I have three clients that have done ketamine. One of them was someone that had a lot of experience with a lot of alcohol and a lot of marijuana and a lot. And she asked me to sit with her for her, she did an at home form of ketamine.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a cheaper option.
Mhm.
And she had a Zoom call with the doctor, the practitioner. That person had to speak to me to know that I was actually there in her house before she took it and gave me my instructions to sit with her for several hours or whatever it was.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was an honor, and it was um, an interesting experience. I will say that when she came out of it, my job at a certain time of on the clock was to check on her and wake her up and see if she was done, because they kind of knew when it would be done. And she was like, nothing happened. She was really upset. And the next day I kind of checked in with her, and she was still kind of disappointed. And I think she had maybe 3 rounds. I only had to be there for the first one for whatever reason. She did not feel like she got anything out of it.
Interesting.
Kind of preface the other usage as part of that is my belief system, right? So, because I've been put under anesthesia at a time in my life when my drinking was extremely heavy and the anesthesia did not work. And my doctor was very frustrated because I sang to him, "You are my sunshine," the entire time he cut open my body and sewed me up. So, you know, I think it's important for anyone who's going to explore ketamine, which I think is a great option. You got to clean out your system if you're going to get a benefit from it. Another person
Thank you
that
for
took
that.
it, yeah, another person that took it found me after he took ketamine. He
Mhm.
was taking it for depression, anxiety,
Mhm.
with a doctor. Um, he took it once. It blasted him open so far that he had to find me, some kind of spiritual practitioner, some kind of metaphysical person, because he came from such a religious background and he had
Mm,
no experience with what he was experiencing in
mm,
other dimensions, other realms, higher levels of knowing and consciousness, just all flooding in. And he was very angry and very upset that the doctors were not prepared to teach him how to integrate, or the doctors were not prepared for this level of opening of his consciousness, his third eye, however you want to perceive that. So that's another sort of warning that I
It's
would
a
have
it's
to share.
yeah, it's a gotcha, and I really, really appreciate you bringing that forward, because that is a thing. A lot. Okay, so part of the requirement for a lot of the shamanic practitioners to actually facilitate medicine journeys is that they have to have gone through many medicine journeys themselves in order to facilitate, so that they're able to hold space for that, right? The one gotcha especially if it is a short-term thing that a medical professional is going through in order to get their credentials for this. They may not have the level of experience to hold space for everything that is happening. So you may find, even if you explore something like that, that your medical practitioner is not able to hold space for whatever it is that's happening with you, and that you need additional help for integration support. I feel so strongly about integration support, and that is one thing that raises my hackles with anybody that facilitates any form of teacher medicine or expansion or mind altering experiences, is that you have somebody who's able to hold space for that and facilitate your integration, because the integration is, it can be like being just like slammed back on the earth and like, what is this reality that I have landed back into? And it can, because you've experienced such levels of beauty and joy and love and whatever, and then you come back into stuff that doesn't feel like that at all. You can feel like you're going absolutely bonkers. There may be some level of truth to that, and people who are not able to facilitate your grounding as part of that integration. It's something to be mindful of, and know that there are other facilitators who are able to help with that, Ariana being one of them. I definitely act in that role as well, and I feel like, Ariana, you and I are both like, we're kind of not kind of spiritual midwives, right? So we're able to hold space for that and help people to birth into whatever it is that they are becoming, and let them know like that this is okay. You're seriously, you're not going crazy. Maybe don't tell everybody about your experiences, but let's talk about it, right? Let's help integrate it. Let's help ground you. Let's bring you back in, and so that you're able to be the wholeness of who you are. It's okay. And I am also going through some training so that I actually have a certificate that says that I can do this, because it is such a calling for me to, and such an honor to facilitate plant medicine journeys for people, to be a sitter and a space holder and an integration specialist.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk
I love
about
it.
later.
Yes.
I literally just messaged you about that. But anyway, so moving on to, I wrote down a couple of other ones, and this is another one that, depending on the state you live in, and I do not live in a medicinal marijuana state, but we do have Delta 9 with THC gummies available.
Just don't ever take it to Texas. Just don't ever take it to Texas. I've heard stories about Texas.
Well, I mean, so in part, I take them for calming, it helps me to sleep through the night. I don't take it every night, but every once in a while I'll know that I'm a little too jacked up, and that it's good for me to take, and so that I will fully not wake up in the middle of the night, ideally. But I do sometimes, when I take it and I'll be laying in bed and just like calming myself and getting ready to drift off, have some really profound thoughts, insights, levels of consciousness and experiences. And these are just mild forms of THC gummies, Delta 9, 25 milligrams, I think, maybe, which is the higher dose, but more often than not, I only take half of it. So I just want to kind of put that out there for listeners that may be considering exploring something. I would say that wouldn't be not an easy over the counter, depending on your state, kind of place to start to explore some experiences if you have not begun any kind of plant medicine journey.
There are so there's a lot of advancement there. It's just an interesting process to watch. So I do live in Colorado, which is one of the, if not the first state to legalize it.
Are Right.
Yeah, I think Washington was right behind us, and then Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's growing, and so yeah, everybody knows about Colorado. Again, that is a plant that I have a sacred relationship with. Let me be clear that I have um, an unusual sensitivity to plant medicines, plants of all sorts. And just even holding something in my hand, I can have an experience. So I'm acutely sensitive, a very, very low tolerance for actual, forms of ingesting. I did go 3 full years without ingesting any medicine of any sort, and that
Mhm.
was part of my journey. I am not in that phase right now. I am working with some medicines, including cannabis, and again exploring the different strains and having the insights. It is beautiful, amazing. I don't like them. Okay, I refuse to be mind altered at all and drive. That's just a me thing, right?
Mhm.
So my explorations are times when I know that I am not operating any machinery,
Yeah.
and other people, will drive on, all kinds of pharmaceuticals and be really not good. But that's my personal integrity thing. That's a me thing, right? So I'll just be clear on that. So my experiences are at home or in the safety of another environment where I know that I am not really responsible for anyone and I can have my experiences. I have space for that. And so I've explored different strains. I do really love, because I know we have so many cannabinoid receptors in our bodies, and the cannabis plant, especially hemp and with the CBD, is extraordinarily helpful and medicinal and has no psychoactive properties. I like the element of a little bit of THC for the insights that you talked about, because it does bless you with some beautiful insights. We can call her the green goddess, and we
Yeah.
can have explorations with her. And she is a teacher, and she does share insights. Different strains will offer different levels of insight. There are some where you get an insight and then you feel a little regretful about certain things. And then there are other strains that work with your body that will offer you the insights with other perspectives on it, where you can see like a higher vision of it, right? And it doesn't feel bad. You don't get anxiety or anything that comes with it. So it's really an exploration in what works for you. I am glad that the Delta 9 is available for those in other states where you're not able to work with the broad range. I definitely have some feelings about the different growers, the different manufacturers, all of the processes that go into creating the different forms that are available in the dispensaries. The medicine level that is available in the recreational versus the medicinal dispensaries is different for a reason. I have seen some levels of addiction and things that I wouldn't consider to necessarily be healthy in people's chosen usage
Mhm.
of this particular plant. But I love what it teaches, and everybody's going to have their experiences. But is it anything compared to what I've seen with meth, cocaine, alcohol? No, no, it's not. It's not any. I have not seen anything harmful along those lines. So I'm does it tend to be a little demotivating at times for people? Can they go off and do their spiritual escapism with their weed and not be sacred about it and be using it to escape and not face life? Yes,
Totally.
100%,
Totally.
absolutely. And that when they're ready to come back to earth and have their experiences on earth, that's great. You're probably not in my circle if you're a spiritual escapist. That's just straight up, that's me.
Right. Right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add on to that. Yeah, I didn't even bring in the actual plant itself of it. I was just referring to the gummies.
Mhm.
Um, Getting into making canna butter and all of that is like a whole other level of
Well, yeah,
that you can do. And
the different forms of the edibles, but what I'm talking about also is the shatter and the vaping and dabs, where it's super 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 concentrated levels of it, where I have seen it abused, and
I
it
forgot
gets
about
just
the
a little
vaping part.
too
Yeah.
much. Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
a
I mean, but I think we said this earlier in this podcast where it's any too much of anything, no matter how benevolent that thing is, too much of it is no longer benevolent.
yeah,
The sun
yeah.
is fabulous, but if you expose your bare skin to 10 hours of solid, bright sun, you're going to get burned and maybe even blistered. So be mindful and conscious. And again, check in with your heart and follow your heart and not the
Mm.
ego mind or the habit of it. Oh, this is what I do, whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah, just being mindful.
I absolutely agree with that. Thank you. That was a beautiful, beautiful way of putting it. Yeah, I'm a proponent, but with caveats.
Yeah.
I love and I'm so appreciative of my experiences and my journeys with plant teachers, and this is an ongoing thing. Um, and they reveal more all the time, and I love to work in collaboration with them. And I so believe that working with any of the plant medicines and fungi are so freaking wise, so freaking wise. I want to narrow in on the fungi and talk about that, because you can buy mushrooms at the grocery store, it doesn't have to be the kind that are not legal, right? You can still work with fungus, the consciousness of fungus and fungi, and the way that mycelium functions. It ties everything together, and it's part of bringing us all together and healing some of the polarity. And like, we can't experience the good without the bad. Well, that may be bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's come together and come to a place where maybe we have a world where we can experience just good, mostly good, right?
Yeah.
And we can outgrow some of the stuff that's a little bit more uncomfortable if we come together. It's everything that separates us, that's the ego. And when we come into our heart, that's more of where the mycelium is like, yeah, I'm in the heart, let's come together. Why do we have to be against one another? Why? Right? It's all levels of experience, but I feel like we're playing a lot of this out, and we're outgrowing it to a
Mhm.
point where we can see all of the different perspectives and come together. I just feel like mycelium really helps that whole coming together with yourself, coming together with others. And I just don't see how that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought all of that up because um I do have some experience with the not store purchased
Mhm.
mushroom um products, which are very opening and very wise and very integrating. But what I have done recently is spend more time at either farmers markets where we do have a couple of people who grow incredible, uh, let's say, over the counter
Like oyster
produce.
mushrooms and things like
Yeah,
that.
oyster mushrooms, lion's mane, cordyceps.
Yes.
And I really enjoy making a point to cook with more fresh mushrooms, adding them to spaghetti sauce or omelets or, whatever, and really incorporating them into my diet, into what my body is taking in and utilizing all of those natural, beautiful, healing, medicinal plants. And
That
it's
feels
made
really
a
good.
huge difference. I have a friend who grows mushrooms in just regular farmers market
Mhm.
mushrooms in Georgia, and she makes tinctures out of them with a blend, and you can add that to your coffee or your tea, or just take the drops in straight into your mouth, and those will help as anti-inflammatories and reduce, the effects of anxiety or other issues of the mind. I don't want to say too many of those words because then
Gotcha.
the
Yep.
flaggers
Yep.
start flagging.
Yes. The flaggers start flagging, and we're just kind of going to transmute any of that. Whoever needs to hear this is going to hear it, and it's all good. We just know to kind of mind our P's and Q's a little bit. Yeah, just out of respect.
Yeah.
Yep, totally gotcha though.
So, yeah, and I just wanted to share that with anyone listening that, there it doesn't have to be a mind altering item. The especially with the fungi family, to incorporate more and more fungus into your diet in creative ways will make a huge difference in your body, your mind, and your spirit. It does not have to be difficult to obtain.
Not at all. No, that I mean, they're one of my favorites is this. I think it's called Sacred Seven. It's seven different mushrooms. You buy it on Amazon, and it's just you can just like add it to your, your morning beverage or whatever. It really doesn't have a lot of taste to it, and so nourishing, so nourishing. I just so
Yeah.
grateful that all of this stuff is available because in the days of yore we went foraging and we found all of this stuff and you know we may have been healthier individuals and we didn't have all of the other environmental stuff that
Yeah.
we needed to counteract in a way. But I would say any way that you are able to introduce live foods into your diet, your body will be so grateful.
Yeah.
It'll tell you it's so thankful. Thank you for giving me alive foods. And so that's all part of it.
Mhm.
Fungi, juices, whatever it is that you're introducing into your body, fresh produce and vegetables. If you're not on a carnivore diet, some people have found massive healing in that. And so whatever people choose to do, I don't think there's any one right way. Where does
Yeah.
your heart lead you?
Listen to your body. Um,
Mhm.
you said the word foraging, and that was like ping. So I really hope that we don't have to say this, friends out there in listener land,
Oh
but
God.
if you are going to forage, please know what you're picking.
Oh my
Please
gosh.
go with a
Please,
knowledgeable forager. Um,
please.
there are many, 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 many poisonous mushrooms out there
So
that
many.
grow so happily and plentifully along the nature trails. So please do not just pick and eat.
Yes.
Please.
Please know what you're doing because, and go with people who are like, there are people that teach the classes and they will take you on walks. They will show you what you're looking at. They will call out the pros and cons of whatever is out there. Is stuff that I mean
Will kill you.
it'll okay, let's just
You
say it.
can't say
Yes,
that word, right? Is that a buzzword? It will
it'll
unalive
unalive
you.
you.
It will unalive you.
Please be careful.
Yeah. Um, Right. I mean, one of my very favorite movies of all time is about a true story about, I forget his name, but he goes
In
into
Alaska.
Alaska, into
Yeah,
the
in the
wild,
bus. Yep.
and he's got a book and he's
Yep.
foraging for plants, and he doesn't read the warning carefully enough and eats a plant that sadly does kill him.
Hmm. Yep, that happened. I
It's
love that
real.
book.
Huh? Give the book.
I said, I love that book.
Oh, see, I didn't read the book. I watched it.
Oh,
I've
it was a
seen the
movie
movie
also.
like 3 times. I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix, it's on Amazon. Into the Wild. It's a great movie. Big tearjerker.
It
And
is.
I have friends that have been to the bus that he passed away in. So yeah,
Oh,
it still stands, and it's sort of
yes.
a place that people visit and honor his uh, his philosophy and his meaning, his intent.
Yeah, I have not felt called to put that on my bucket list. But I was aware that it was almost a memorial.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I haven't been there, but I do know people that have been there.
that's neat.
Um, well, I have two more on my list, but the last one I'm really feeling called to mention is the Cambo
Oh, combo. Mm-hmm.
of frog medicine.
Do you want to talk about that separately from Bufo or because that's another form of frog medicine. So I
No
had a
Bufo.
what's that?
I'm not familiar with Bufo, so you can educate me.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
listening.
it's definitely interesting. Okay, so I do you want me to touch on that?
Yeah, go ahead, please, because I don't know.
Okay.
Yay.
I have a friend and someone who actually lived here for a while who was a practitioner who has given it up. And I've also known a number of other practitioners that, went and spent time in the jungle. And yeah, I mean, very, very wholehearted. I have not experienced combo myself. It is highly purgative, like out both ends and in every way that you can think of, but it can also
Yes, it
creates
is.
massive massive transformation in people's lives. And so if that is something that calls you, then find a qualified practitioner in order to experience that. It's just not something that I have been called to experience. But I even have a friend staying with me now who went through a number of combo experiences, and she can probably speak more to that. So I might just have a conversation with her and say, tell me about your experiences a little bit more. We haven't really talked about that in depth.
Ooh.
um yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful medicine. I have some feelings around it. The friend that was with me was one of like the first three practitioners certified in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. One of the first handful, and then it like became a thing.
Mhm.
Um, so that I know is yeah, I just can't speak to it personally. It's all I keep getting this not my story to tell, not my story to tell. So I mean I'm gonna have to say that maybe we'll have a guest at some point who can speak on their experiences with that to explain it. I really like to just share my own stories.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I can
but
speak
but
to
yeah, it's a thing, and it's another one that is available now. Bufo, the bufotenine, and so there's these frogs, and they can take it off the back of them, so there's different forms of it, right? I did experience bufo, and that is definitely absolutely another one. All of this, please, please, please know your practitioner, know the set and setting, please be in a comfortable place where you know that you are held, loved, and supported, because it makes all the difference in the world. So my Bufo experience was near a beautiful running stream. There were no other, vehicles. It was in a supportive environment with just two other people. And I was able to completely surrender to the medicine and allow it to do what it needed to do with me. And I felt completely held and supported the entire time. In fact, as I went into the experience, I heard, "You are loved, held, and supported. You are loved, held, and supported. You are loved, held, and supported," the whole time. And I felt that. And so I was able, like I said, to really surrender to the experience and open to that and really get the benefits of that. And it was so beautiful. I was part of everything. And it was an amazing, amazing experience. One of my girlfriends that's here right now also has done the Bufo, and she was there with me when I experienced it. And she said, "I need to be out in nature, away from everybody, and you need to give me like at least an hour," because she like completely strips down and just like has an experience. I just like found myself just completely melting and laying into the blankets and the pillows and everything that were set out so that I could really have it. She has an all out, totally different experience. So it's really, really different for everybody. That's why you need to know that your facilitator is experienced and is able to hold space for whatever it is that however you show your experience. So I've seen the different sides of different ways that people experience their medicine journeys. Let's just put it that way. That's part of the honor of it, right? You never really know how it's going to show up. So Bufo, interesting enough, ooh, I have to be careful. There are other plant materials that do contain bufotenine, there are ways of administering this. So I've experienced it in at least 3 different ways, and I'm not gonna name the specific plant material because there's a sacredness, and I'm not ready to share that. And yeah. Anyway, so you can get the effects of the bufotenine, not just with the frog medicine, but also with some plant material. Very, 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 very sacred. I cannot emphasize enough how sacred this needs to be held. All of it, the plant material in any form, it will chew you up and spit you out, or it will be the most amazing, loving experience that you have ever had in your entire life.
Yeah.
In some of the more elevated versions that I have had it, I went through every relationship that I've ever struggled with and came out of it with forgiveness and gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
The more challenging, what people that I would consider to be, I don't know that I have any enemies, but the more challenging experiences that I've had of seeing the higher purpose of it and why it all came together the way it did and the ultimate plan for it, and coming out of the experience with massive gratitude. Also, massive gratitude for me and my expression and who I am and everything that I have been through, and not even wanting to try to be like anybody else. Right? Yeah. So grateful for everybody else having their own. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being you. Thank you for doing everything that you're doing in your life, whatever that is. Thank you for choosing to be you, because I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't even know where to start. And as a Libra, to experience something like that, where we are so keen to be in another person's shoes and be able to view things from so many different perspectives. And there are not just 2 sides to a story. There are at least 12, right? And let's go exponential on that as far as the number of perspectives that could be had. But as a Libra who is so used to putting themselves in other people's shoes and viewing things from their perspective, being able to say, I am grateful for my own perspective. And I am so grateful for you inhabiting your body and having your experiences and sharing yourself uniquely as you, having a massive gratitude for this. That's what Bufo has granted me.
Interesting.
And I am eternally grateful for that.
Cool. Interesting. So I have not done Bufo. In fact, I had never heard of it, but I have done Cambo.
Mhm.
I was actually really blessed with the opportunity during lockdown that a friend of mine had been working with this practitioner who was trained in the rainforest but lives locally. Um, and because we were in lockdown, she was really looking for people that were not afraid to come out and be willing to do the medicine. So she offered me a one-on-one 3-day ceremony for a dramatically discounted price that I couldn't even say no to. And my girlfriend had been working with her and felt that it was a really good experience. So um, I felt called to do it. And as you say,
Primitive.
it's a frog poison, right? It's a frog poison in very small doses where they prick your skin in certain areas. Part of what she did was um, she was called by the medicine where to put it on my body on certain meridian lines. I think at one point it was on the heart meridian, and at one point it was on the triple warmer. It was an amazing opportunity to work one-on-one with a seasoned practitioner and have her really walk me through it. And she was grateful to have somebody in front of her, because in her area, she was about an hour away from me. In her area, no one was coming out of lockdown. So it was a great opportunity. And I will say, as you said, it is a purgatory. So there were aspects of it that weren't fun, but it was definitely necessary for me. And one of the things that she really explained to me that I found fascinating was that the frog medicine, and I think this is really probably true of all plant medicines, sometimes it will work to heal on the physical level, and sometimes it'll work to heal on the spiritual level. It depends on what will serve your personal highest and best in that time. So a lot of what I experienced was physical. What I did not know in that time period was that I had a parasitic infestation. So it was really working on physical issues more than anything else. So part of me was disappointed that I wasn't having like these grandiose spiritual gateway opening, blah, blah, blah. But I knew that on the other side, I felt better in my body and physically. So I think that's perhaps why I'm being called to share the experience, that sometimes, my friends, it's not about what you think it's about. Um, in fact, one other really quick story. The first time I had my funny little friend who is an engineer bring me to this 3-day ayahuasca Peruvian ceremony, the morning of the ceremony, I woke up and I was like, how is this happening? Oh my God, I'm getting a urinary tract infection. And I followed there's very strict dietary codes that you do several days before the ceremony. I had been strict on all of these, very healthy. I'm like, how is this happening? I wasn't sexually active. There was no reason for me to be contracting a urinary tract infection. It made no sense to me. I was really scared. I had just paid a lot of money. It was a lot for me at the time to do this. And we get to the ceremony, and by the afternoon, when we were supposed to be settling into our rooms and preparing for the evening ceremony, I was doubled over in pain. It just continued to worsen and worsen and worsen. I went to the organizer and the Peruvian shaman, two different people. I pulled the two of them aside and I was practically in tears. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't think I can do this. I'm in so much excruciating pain. I have a urinary tract infection. I don't know where it came from. I'm sure I need to just go and get some antibiotics. Can I defray my cost to another time? I wasn't even asking for my money back, but I didn't want to totally lose my money either. Well, they said you stay or you go, but you've paid and that's it. There was no grace involved. And the shaman, who did not speak a lot of English, basically conveyed that the medicine would probably heal me, and that whatever was going on physically was probably a spiritual manifestation of something that needed to be cleared, and it was coming up for the medicine to clear it. But they left the choice to be mine, and I did not want to lose my money, is really what the bottom line was, because I didn't believe that the medicine could cure me. That was really probably one of my first big plant medicine experiences. So I didn't believe it. And I went through that ceremony, and I will tell you what, when we say that these things are purgatory, sometimes you're going to throw up. Sometimes you are going to run to the bathroom and poop. Well, I
Or not
sat
make it to the bathroom.
yeah, no, I couldn't even make it to the bathroom. I just sat outside. It's embarrassing to say, but I'm going to share it anyway.
No, that's what happens. You need to
I,
know that this stuff is not pretty. Like it's and that you've got
I
to
sat
whoever is
outside,
there. Yeah.
hugging my bucket, puking into the bucket, and just peeing and peeing. I couldn't get to the bathroom. I was like too, let's say, high, gone from the medicine.
Some people do more than pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just
Oh, well,
everything just like comes out and you got to be able to, yeah, it's you got to let it
thank
go.
God they had an outside space for us. I've been to other medicine ceremonies where they confine you inside, which would have made this very complicated.
Yeah, not
I
so good.
sat outside where I could just allow the medicine to flush through physically. And when I woke up the next day, I was fine. It was amazing. Um, and there was another guy who was on his hands and knees, probably during the same time where I was sitting there, and it was just, it's comical, but it's healing. And he was on his hands and knees with his bucket under his chin on the ground, and literally puking and pooping his pants because he could both ends. And the next day we had like kind of a little group. If you wanted to, you could come to sort of an afternoon group share. And he showed up, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he had the nerve, like the courage, I should say, the courage to show up. And he's laughing. He was like, just when I think I've let go of all my ego, grandmother shows me how much ego I really have. And that was such a great experience. And I know you all probably saw me, and it was pretty cool. So anything can happen, and you have to be really open. And as Cami has said several times, and as I have said several times, please, please, please work with a practitioner who is very well trained. And I would even say vet your practitioners. Ask them where they have studied. Ask them how long they have studied. Ask them how long they have been doing ceremony, and how many ceremonies do they do per year? How many people do they work with a year? And if you get the sense that they're not telling you the truth, do not do it, no matter how badly you want to try a ceremony. You want to be in a safe space with someone who really knows how to deal with any kind of situation that may go awry. You don't want to be in these other dimensional spaces having a negative or adverse reaction and having a practitioner that is like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. Just deal with it.
Or who
Woo!
is scared and bringing that energy into it because they're freaked out about it and they've never encountered this before. It's not even a flippant, I don't know. What's even more dangerous is somebody who is scared and adding
Excellent.
that energy to it. I feel really strongly about that. I've
Excellent
experienced
point.
some of that myself and I'm not too keen on that. So that's really important. I'm so glad that you shared your combo experience. And your ayahuasca and the different versions is so more common, maybe. I've just heard a lot about it. People like holding medicine ceremonies like in their homes and things, and setting is super important. Just like Ariana is saying, please like get to know your practitioner, find somebody that you really feel safe and comfortable with. For anybody, especially if it's your first experience, oh, please be with somebody that can hold space for you because it's different your first time. With every medicine, it's different your first time. Be with somebody that you know is able to hold that space, and especially if they offer a sacred set and setting, and the people that are around you, because you're all going to be opened up, and you're all going to be playing off each other's whatever, and all sorts of things are going to be showing up. Please know that you're with somebody who's going to be able to hold you in whatever experiences that you have. And I'm really glad that you shared some of the maybe ugly pieces of some of the purgatives, and also so glad that you were able to share your experiences, because you reminded me of the other stories that I've heard about the combo experiences, about how effective it is for physical, I'm going to using air quotes, maladies. So many autoimmune disorders,
Yeah.
very effective for autoimmune disorders, all sorts of yeah.
Buzz tag.
Yeah, well, you know what? That one I feel kind of okay with, because even Western medicine doesn't know how to address them.
Mhm.
So I feel a little okay talking about those. But definitely we'll name all sorts of what we could call diagnoses or diseases that I have heard being greatly aided
Yeah.
with all forms of plant medicine. Combo is extraordinary for a lot of these things, and the insights that are gained from the various plant medicines can be extraordinarily healing, also for physical modalities. It's a definitely hard, fast, and a little raucous with combo, but it does the job.
Yeah.
It's like Rolfing. It's like Rolfing. If you're into, like body work, Rolfing is like, oh my God, that hurts. You know what I'm saying? It's painful.
Mm.
They're but it's effective. And if that's really what you're after, then go for it. So I would say it's the Rolfing of plant medicines.
Rolfing is fun. I would say combo for is very much a warrior.
Yes.
It's very much a warrior energy. So if you need more
Yeah.
sort of soft, gentle nurturing, I wouldn't
Mm,
say combo is your thing.
no.
That's okay, and that's the beauty of these experiences, is that there's something for everyone.
I
Yeah,
love that. Thank
definitely
you.
something for everyone.
Yeah, they all have their energies. Like you referred to ayahuasca as grandmother, and I would agree with that. I would say mescaline is like sitting on grandpa's knee and having a chat
Mm-hmm.
about some things, and having some really, really deep and beautiful wisdom being shared with you. So that's more of the cactus family.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go too deeply into that. There's different forms of it, but we'll just call it mescaline. But that acts, that feels like grandfather to me.
I've heard it referred to as grandfather as well. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's been my experience with it. And it was always very sacred in ceremony by somebody who was qualified, that I've
awesome.
had those experiences. So yeah. Amazing. I really enjoy these conversations as much as I feel like I keep like biting my tongue on various things.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Right. But
it's okay.
it's becoming more and more available. Um, and I think it's great that people are able to explore certain things. And I still feel like mostly it's it's held as sacred, and people are holding that, and it's not being sort of used and abused. So um yeah. And maybe it's a really good thing that there can be a lot of discomfort with it, and it's not something to play around with. It's not recreational. People are not going to choose to go play with combo because it is such an extraordinarily uncomfortable experience.
Right.
I don't know anybody that says that, yay, combo's a hayride. I let's go to combo. No, 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 you're there to do business,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. You're there to heal a thing or two.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. Well, this has been far more than I anticipated. And it's so amazing when we are able to just sort of hold space and allow whatever is going to flow to come through, and just honor the wisdom that wants to be shared, right?
Thank you so much for being able to hold space for that.
Thank you. This has been
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you so much. So we about ready to wrap up?
I think we're almost up to 2 hours. So, yeah.
So maybe we have some editing to do, or maybe we just have a really long podcast.
Yeah.
So we'll see what shows up in the final version of it.
Awesome. Love it.
Too funny. I love it. Ariana, thank you so much. Thank you for holding space for me to get like giddy and expressive and go a little ADHD on stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I love you very much.
I'm so grateful for this collaboration. It's such a contribution to me and my life, and I hope the world, really. Thank you.
And sharing your perspective, it just opens up new things for me all the time, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, folks.
Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Conscious Conversations. We hope that the insights and wisdom shared here have resonated with you and sparked new pathways of growth and transformation.
We value your presence and engagement, and we invite you to be an active part of our conscious community. Your comments, questions, and shares contribute to the collective expansion of knowledge and awareness.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a comment or share it with someone who might benefit from these transformative conversations. Together, we can create ripples of positive change.
We also offer personalized sessions and resources to support you on your journey of personal growth and spiritual healing. Visit our websites, listed in the comments section, to explore the various energetic healing modalities and sessions we provide.
Remember, conscious growth is a continuous journey, and we're honored to walk this path with you. Subscribe to our podcast to stay connected and never miss an episode as we explore new dimensions of consciousness and elevate the collective vibration.
Join us next time for another enlightening episode of Conscious Conversations. Until then, keep expanding your mind and embracing the infinite possibilities that lie within.